Good afternoon. Before I start, let me thank all of you, especially the eminent speakers on the panel. They don't know why they have actually been roped in. You see, I worked with the government for 37 years, and you have to ask me how I survived. Having said so, there was a technical mistake when he said eminent people from the government. I am not from the government. I am from the public service broadcaster, Doordarshan and Prasar Bharati and Akashvani. I needed my learning lessons, and therefore I thought the cheapest way of doing it is at somebody's expense. We have with us Sunil Lulla, who looks after Times, the media group, whose sole task is to throttle me out of business. He's almost succeeded. Z, who will, I think, do the remaining part of the job. Then we have Anuradha Prasad, who will finish off whatever's left. Now, having said that, I would also personally thank them for joining this conclave on behalf of Rajiv and me. See, my problem is I come from a problem city called Calcutta. And Indian Chamber comes from Calcutta. So they have a natural right over me. And I had to concede to whatever they said. But this one I thought is a great idea. Because we are now at a juncture when we need to get very serious about certain things. Next year, we go in for an election that promises to be more exciting than most other elections because of certain factors. Insofar as people in the business of news are concerned, that is all of us on this side here excepting Rajiv, anything that excites and creates news is worth it. But let us also look upon ourselves as citizens. We need to take a call on certain questions that have come up that are beyond that of any election. They said that the difference between a politician and a statesman is a politician thinks of the next election, a statesman thinks of the next generation. We have to think of the country first. India is one of those great countries that has been endowed with a vibrant press long before it became independent and democratic. It was the press and the profession of law that spearheaded the movement for freedom, along with those who courted jail. We have right now around 750 million viewers out of 1.24 billion Indians. That includes almost everyone who is up and about watching television at some point of the day. 731 is the last official figure, 740 would be closer. We have around 245 in the print media. So that's almost 1:3. And it goes on. Having said that, the power of the media has never been more evident than September 2010. Why do I use the term September 2000? Why do I use September 2010 as a cutoff mark? If you look back into the history of the media, you will see that from 1947 to about 1977 was a phase that Indian democracy, Indian freedom, Indian choices were articulated, argued, buttressed, and fought out on the floor of Parliament. It was in Parliament that most of the misgivings of the nation were brought out. Many a house tumbled, many an MP was sent to jail. Parliament never worked at that. 77 onwards, it was not the same thing ever again. From 77 onwards till about 1999, 2000, when the skies were opened up to private television, it was the age of the press. I can go and give you any number of examples where the press got at everything, the print media. From 2000, 2001 onwards till 2009, it was both. And this was the heyday of a combined exercise in vigilance and, of course, pulling down many an icon. Again, any number of examples, but I'm supposed to moderate, not to lecture. I'll cut it short. But it's 2010, September to be more precise, that one after the other certain number of incidents come out. A CAG report comes out, the Commonwealth Games happen, the series of incidents, the radio tapes come out, the press goes, the electronic media goes hammer and tongs, it is the print media follows, and trial by media starts. Trial by media as a term which is used in a popular sense, not in either a plausive sense or in a pejorative sense. Now, this power that the media has acquired unto itself immediately bestows upon itself the responsibility that somebody like Feroz Gandhi would have to have when damning his own government on the floor. It brings upon itself a certain amount of circumspection before firing the first bullet. Let us take a look at an obscure example of one part of the media. I am purposely avoiding getting into confrontations with my friends on the stage, so I'll pick on one on which none of them are involved. This is about the social media. What started in the social media about a target on northeastern students in Bangalore. The city of choice was Bangalore. The target was northeast. Not that the northeast is not targeted in Delhi. It is targeted very, very reprehensibly in the city of Delhi. But it was just lasted 3 days. In 3 days, enough mayhem was caused. What the print and the electronic media reported was people from the northeast being bundled like cattle through the windows into trains away to safety. Imagine the amount of trauma it's caused those families. And even the slightest attempt to put in some discipline on the air was met with a tremendous amount of disproportionate resistance. I am not in favor of control. Genetically, I am not in favor of control. It doesn't matter what post one is in. But imagine the power of the simple tweet and the simple SMS versus the power of causing harm. The same thing occurs on a daily basis. So when we talk of the newfound power of the media, we must remember today that we are at the crossroads. A large part of India believes, and rightly so, I belong to most of that school of belief, that the executive is at fault. It is at fault because of some of its genetic programming, some of its attitudinal problems, some of its structural engineering. The legislature is not above board, or at least many of the members are not above board. This is what many people feel. The judiciary is often felt as something that slows down justice. I am talking of popular perceptions. If that is a state of angst about the three major pillars of democracy, the press, media in all its forms, print, electronic, radio, even social media, new media, was taken to be the articulator, the aggregator of such opinion, so that they be placed before those who decide. But then there is a relationship that has been coming over the years that make many people, many common citizens wonder whether that degree of detachment is there. When a member of the press is also a member of a political party, when a member of a political party starts 14 TV channels in a southern state and owns 4 newspapers in that state, do you expect a fair, does he do it for the purpose of presenting a fair, unbiased news, or does he do it for the sake of what he believes is right? So here are these questions that come in with the proliferation of the media, with the increasing power, the muscle power that the media has, with the voice and the imagination of India that the media has captured. It has also acquired and magnetized unto itself a responsibility for which it may not have been fully prepared. Now these are questions that I would ask my worthy speakers here. They are all absolutely eminent persons. As I said, their eminence would lie in my decimation. But it may not be that easy because most of them know me. I don't die that easy. We'll give the fact. But the whole idea is, let us open up this debate, because remember, if this one also fails, if this one also caves in, if the fourth estate caves in along with the other three, we can see ahead of us something of an unrestricted eruption of public angst that defies the very basis of a constitutional and a proper method of governance. Government or governance cannot be decided on the streets. We see often examples of lynching, but that is not a way a civilized government functions, however much be the anger one may have against one's action. So the three, or rather four, sorry, I forgot, Anshuma. We thank you for joining, because we were desperately looking for somebody who has something to do with the print. Though I dare say that if I know all three of my worthy colleagues here, they also have a finger in everything else, including, I think you have some Naam and Benami interest in the print also. The way they proliferate now, so that's another question. When we talk about proliferation from one side to the other, no, it's not there, but you come tomorrow, no, that I'm sure. So, on the one hand, the citizen asks this question: are we now in the hands of our advocate, or are we heading towards a system where we free ourselves from the tentacles of misgovernance by, let us say, the middle level, by the Patwari and Tehsildar, only to land up in a syndrome where you are again a victim of the same person who saved you earlier. These are the questions that are open to us, and I would start by requesting Sunil, would like to start? Sure. Huh? Oh, no. No, Suhaji will have the last. Huh? Okay. I'll ask
all are senior.
That's why I said.
Person who started the television in India. So.
Doordarshan started television in India.
That's why she said that.
No, actually, don't go. I think Yadas ke liye to Purari Sharan, ye kya ho raha? Ye kya ho raha?
I will flag this point against everybody.
No, but what they are trying to say, Doordarshan started it, maybe it finished it, but. No. It's all an evolving game. It's all depending on challenge and response. I would look upon Mr. Suhash Chandra, a very old friend. I think you're still my friend, no?
Of course.
That's it. So Suhash Chandra, who we know for many years, who we have admired at a distance and also worried at times. I worry more nowadays, to say his bit. Thank you very much.